Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. This is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Nigeria and other West African countries to experience a decrease in grain production this year, according to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs.
On sports news tonight, with 11 days to the Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire, Super Eagles of Nigeria officially begin a one-week training camp in Abu Dhabi in preparation for the tournament.
And from Abuja, Federal High Court awards 500 million naira as damages against the Nigerian Customs Service for illegally sealing up the business premises of members of the Registered Trustees of Auto Dealers in Lagos.
And in international news from London, 5 people aboard a Japanese Coast Guard plane have died after their aircraft collided with a passenger plane at Tokyo's Haneda Airport.
The Christmas Eve attacks, which claimed the lives of about 200 people in Plateau State, could not have been as a result of farmer herder crisis. This is the submission of governors under the aegis of the North Central Governors Forum, who have blamed the incident as what they described as a sheer act of criminality, which must be treated as such. Now, the chairman of the forum and governor of Nasarawa State, Mr. Abdullahi Sule, stated this when he led 2 of his counterparts, Reverend Father Hyacinth Ali of Benue and Umaru Bago of Niger, on a condolence visit to Plateau State, where they donated 100 million naira for the victims of the attacks.
Governors from Nigeria's North Central region are the latest to visit Plateau after the Christmas Eve attack on some communities.
From Niger.
The chairman of the forum, Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State, leads the delegation in the company of Governor Hyacinth Ali of Benue State and Governor Umaru Bago of Niger State. They are joined by officials, federal lawmakers, as well as traditional leaders from the states. Plateau is in north-central Nigeria, and the governors want the attack to be treated as a criminal act.
We cannot allow a few people, for whatever selfish reasons, to come in and destroy all of us. Because at the end of the day, those who are suffering have nothing to do with this minority. It's innocent people that are being slaughtered, are being killed by criminals. Because that's the word to use for anybody who will just come. It's not about Fulani. It's not about herders. This is about criminals. And we should take it as such and address it as such.
The governors donated a sum of 100 million naira to the victims to facilitate the return of displaced families to their ancestral lands.
Bandits are terrorists. There is no other word to explain it. Kidnappers are thieves, but bandits are terrorists. And we need to label them as such, so that we deal with them as such.
The Gwangwam Jos appreciates the gesture and makes a case for the establishment of the North Central Development Commission to address some of the challenges in the region.
We are Nigerians, bona fide Nigerians, and we deserve to be recognized accordingly. And so what is good for the others is also good for us. There are no dams in North Central State. Because we can, like His Excellency has noticed, we can do both dry season and rainy season farming effectively. And it will surprise that vehicles from Burkina Faso and far countries, they come in here.
The visit of the North Central Governors Forum to Plateau State to commiserate with the government and the people has also opened the opportunity for the region to curiously look into various issues.
The North Central governors are united, and from what you heard from one of us, we are now eager to ensure that we make impact in our various states and the North Central in general. As a matter of fact, we are already planning a security and economic summit jointly by the North Central. We have met a few times to discuss about this joint partnership.
The governors are insisting that those behind the act must account for their actions and brought to face justice.
Staying with the Plateau attacks, the Nigerian Bar Association, the NBA, is asking the president to show demonstrable commitment to prioritize the security of lives and properties of Nigerians. In a statement by its president, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Yakubu Mekiao, he condemned the December attacks by bandits in Plateau State, as well as the earlier drone strike by the military on Tudumbiri in Kaduna State, which claimed the lives of over 100 Nigerians. The NBA maintains that, quote, government, through our armed forces and other security agencies, must ensure that no square inch of the Nigerian territory is left ungoverned. No part of Nigeria should be left under the control of criminal elements by whatever name so-called. It described the incidents as inexcusable and unacceptable, noting that the attack could be as a result of poor intelligence gathering or a deliberate failure to act. On the state of the economy, the NBA called on the government to put in place additional measures to address the ensuing and increasing difficulties associated with the fuel subsidy removal. Away from the Plateau attacks aftermath, Governor Siminalayi Fubara in Rivers State has been explaining the rationale behind the resignation of Edison Ehie, the leader of the 4 lawmakers loyal to him, from the State House of Assembly. According to the state governor, the decision was part of the implementation of the peace deal brokered by the president and is considered to be in the interest of the state and not out of fear. Governor Fubara, who was speaking at the New Year Day banquet at the Government House in Port Harcourt, noted that the residents would have been the biggest casualties if the political crisis had persisted.
Every decision that we have taken, it is not born out of fear, but because we have the interests of our people. And we have respect for elders. The president requested that we do certain things, in as much as it might not be very comfortable with everyone that is here. But it's the place of the leader to say, let us go along with it. Because if we don't have peace in the states, there won't be that meaningful development that we desire. So I'm appealing to everyone. Let us embrace the peace. We need this peace because our intention for our state is not because of our own personal interests. It's for the interests of everyone, the interests of the development of our state. So when we are faced with this type of situation, we consider the actions and reactions. Who is going to suffer? Fubara will not suffer. I can assure you that. But 1 million supporters will suffer. So those decisions are decisions we took because we want you to still be afloat.
To education matters, the federal government has suspended the evaluation and accreditation of degree certificates from the republics of Benin and Togo, pending the outcome of an investigation into the certificates from both countries. A statement from the Ministry of Education explains that the suspension follows the outcome of an investigation by an underground reporter who claimed to have bagged a degree from a university in Cotonou in 6 weeks and participated in the NYSC scheme. According to the statement, the investigation would involve the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of Nigeria and the two countries, the ministries responsible for education in the two countries, as well as the Department of State Security Services and the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC. According to the ministry, the investigation lends credence to suspicions that some Nigerians deploy nefarious means and unconscionable methods to get a degree with the end objective of getting graduate job opportunities for which they are not qualified. Meanwhile, a former Deputy Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Dr. Ramon Yusuf, is calling on the federal government to set up a committee to investigate the phenomenon of fake certificates by some individuals who claim to obtain degrees outside the shores of the country. Dr. Yusuf also wants the NUC to collaborate with regional educational institution regulators in order to verify the authenticity of universities awarding those certificates. He was a guest on our political program, Politics Today.
In many Francophone African countries, they do not have national quality assurance agencies equivalent to the National Universities Commission. However, they have an agency called CAMES. That is the African and Malagasy Council for Higher Education. That body is responsible for all the 19 Francophone African countries in terms of quality assurance of all their bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees, in addition to the promotion of professors and recruitment of academics. There are many universities in Nigeria that do not have accreditation to offer medicine, MBBS. Yes, they are approved universities. You'll find their names among the list of approved universities that NUC publishes every week. But see, so when somebody asks you, is this university approved? The answer could be yes. But the question should be approved to do what? So what the ministry needs to do now, in addition to what efforts the Honorable Minister is making, is to ensure that going forward, any qualification presented by a Nigerian for Benin Republic, Togo, wherever, Ghana, Niger, they should refer that qualification to CAMES in Ouagadougou, because CAMES has the records of all the accredited programs in the accredited universities in the 19 Francophone African countries.
On the other hand, the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, is calling for a reassessment of the decision to suspend accreditation of the degree certificates from universities in Benin Republic and Togo. In a statement, NANS notes that the suspension has affected numerous students who are duly registered and have invested in their education, many of whom have completed the specified years of study. It maintains that others have successfully graduated and are eagerly awaiting the approval of their evaluation lists to participate in the National Youth Service Corps program. It goes on to say that suspending the accreditation of all certificates risks penalizing genuine students who have worked hard and adhered to the academic regulations of their institutions. In part two, after the break, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu apprehends 5 persons, including the soldier, for plying one way with motorcycles on the Lagos-Badagry Expressway and vows to bring such acts of lawlessness to an end. Please stay.
HMO is the professional health partner you need to live a healthier and more fulfilling life. Embrace a life of vitality with affordable health plans tailored to meet your health goals. Our network of over 3,000 accredited hospitals ensure you and your loved ones are always in the best of care. Whether it's general health, maternity, pediatric, and geriatric care, we have you covered. Call us today on 0800 Anchor HMO.
Choose Anchor HMO International.
Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste. We pick fine quality tea leaves from selected tea gardens around the world. to give you Lipton Yellow Label's flavorful and balanced taste in every sip.
Delicious, nourishing, and satisfying taste of Golden Penny Semovita, my soup's first choice.
We're having a baby boy!
Girl!
Boy.
Girl!
Boy!
Guys, I've got amazing news for you.
No. Keep the news to yourself.
Which one is mine?
All 8 of them. How many of them are girls?
Get 8 times the value of every recharge, 1,000 Naira sign-up bonus, and double data with Airtel over Jara. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Attacks by bandits in Plateau State. Federal government suspends the evaluation and accreditation of degree certificates from the republics of Benin and Togo, pending the outcome of an investigation into the certificates from both countries. And 5 people aboard a Japanese Coast Guard plane killed after the purported suspension of the chairman of the Ondo State chapter of the party, Mr. Fatai Adams. In a statement by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olugunagba, the National Working Committee declares the said suspension as null and void and of no effect, not being consistent with the provisions of the Constitution of the PDP as amended in 2017 and laid down rules. According to Mr. Olugunagba, no state working committee has the power whatsoever to contemplate or suspend a state chairman without due recourse to the NWC as provided by the Constitution of the PDP. The State Working Committee of the PDP in Ondo State had announced the suspension of the state chairman, alleging anti-party activities.
Don't bring 2 of them.
Governance in action, you may say, and that is the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu apprehending some traffic offenders on the Lagos-Badagry Expressway, a soldier and 4 others for plying one way with motorcycles. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who appeared quite furious and seen going after the culprits and assisted by security aides, says the act of lawlessness must be brought to an end in the state. One of the offenders identified himself as a soldier, prompting Governor Sanwo-Olu to vow that for that reason he would be locked up. He also engaged one of the motorcycle passengers, pointing out that it is wrong to ply a bike on one way as she could be knocked down by any fast-moving vehicle. This is not the first time Governor Sanwo-Olu would personally arrest motorcycle riders and passengers plying one way on the expressway. 2 years ago, precisely December 2021, a similar situation played out on the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway.
I'm a soldier, Augusta. So that's even the more reason. That's even the more reason I'm going to lock you up. That's even the more reason. You're telling me a soldier. That's even the more reason. I'm going to lock you up. You people that you all company. Then you know. Madam, they got it, you're taking Okada, and they're taking you one way. And you put it on Facebook, on a road that are done. Is it good? And they will not hit you, you go and fall and you die. They'll say government killed you. What a shame. And we're all praying that we'll have a better country. Post it and tell people, this is what the kind of things that you see. In 20 minutes, I'm sure they will still carry another person.
In Enugu State, Governor Peter Mba is promising residents of his commitment to implement policies that will assuage the impact of inflation on their living standard. The governor maintains that the ongoing urban renewal program, the smart schools and health centers are to ensure that civil servants do not incur financial burden in trying to maintain good life for themselves and family members. He said this when addressing journalists at the beginning of the year Holy Mass held at the Government House in Enugu.
We're going to request that they be patient with us because some of the programs we're doing in terms of our urban renewal initiatives may also affect some people. But the truth is that we're also going to take steps to ensure we mitigate the pains. It is all for the collective good of Enugu. We would also encourage them to pay their taxes, and they would see what the tax money that is being paid is used for. As you know, a lot of this spending is going to come from mobilizing domestic revenue. We do not intend to borrow. We're only borrowing less than 13% of the total budget size of this year. So it would be for them to continue to support the government. We must make sure we protect government assets. They are our assets. We shouldn't vandalize. We shouldn't steal government assets. They belong to the people of Enugu. You are actually going to be cutting your nose to spite your face when you vandalize or indeed steal those government assets.
It's now time to head to the nation's capital, and Gloria Umizoke is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Gloria. Over to you.
Hello, many thanks, Ayo. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has awarded the sum of 500 million naira as general and aggravated damages against the Nigerian Customs Service for illegally sealing up the business premises of members of the registered trustees of auto dealers in Lagos. Justice Abimbola Awogboro, in her statement, held that the sealing of the car marts of plaintiff members was unlawful and arbitrary as there was no justification for the illegal act. It ordered the Nigerian Customs Service to immediately unseal the car marts it unlawfully sealed across the country. The auto dealers had dragged the Nigerian Customs Service Board, the Nigerian chairman of the board, and the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service before the court in 2019 after over 434 car marts and shops belonging to the plaintiff and its members in Lagos were sealed up on suspicion that the vehicles on the premises were smuggled or under-assessed during clearance at the ports. Away from the court to crime matters here in the nation's capital, the FCT administration is assuring residents of optimum safety in 2024. The Secretary of the administration's Command and Control Center, Mr. Peter Olumoje, stated this during a patrol with security operatives around the nation's capital. He also urged residents to desist from spreading fake news and misinformation about the security situation in Abuja.
We have gone around with the Joint Task Force of FCT. The Joint Task Force is headed by the Commissioner of Police, CP Haruna, and has all the relevant security agencies in the FCT. And the purpose of going around is to build confidence among the residents of FCT that FCT is safe, not looking at the negative information that is being peddled on social media by people that refuse to go and verify such information. We have gone around, you have seen that since the festive period started up to now that we have crossed into the new year, FCT has been secured, FCT has been saved. We've not recorded any untoward incident within the FCT. And we also want to let you know that the FCT minister, Yesin Wike, is particular about the safety and security of lives and property within the FCT. And he has also mandated the FCT security agencies to maintain the tempo of this good work they've done, because everyone residing in the FCT needs to reside there in a secured environment. And he's assuring the residents of FCT that in 2024 that we have just entered, the residents should have no fear because their security is guaranteed.
Security is of great concern to residents of Zamfara state as the new year begins, with the people calling on both the federal and state governments to take necessary actions to curb the menace. They're concerned that a state such as Zamfara, which is agrarian in nature, should be producing majority of the country's food items, but banditry activities have prevented many farmers from accessing their farmlands.
24 students of the Federal University of Gusau, 10 construction workers and the staff of the university and his daughter were kidnapped on the 22nd of September 2023 in Sabongida, a community hosting the main campus of the university.
At this time, some of their colleagues are in school writing their exam, while they are more than 100 days in their captivity. And we will call the government.
Zamfara state is one of the 7 states in Nigeria's northwest region, and one of those that has suffered attacks by bandits over the past few years, with villagers no longer feeling safe. Zamfara state is one of the most impacted, with several attacks on homes, schools, travelers, and even security operatives. In the last days of 2023, Governor Dauda Lawal ordered the closure of 11 cattle markets as part of the attempt to crack down on banditry and other forms of insecurity in the state. This followed security reports that bandits were utilizing these markets to sell off their rustled cows. The affected markets include Safe, Bilbis, Jangebe, Wuya, Magamindidi, Galadi, Mada, Sabon-Birnin, Kokia, Chigama, and Nasarawa Godel markets. As residents begin a new year, the feeling is one of being fed up as they ask the federal and state governments to take necessary actions to curb the menace of insecurity in the state. The residents, while speaking with Channels Television on the year 2024 expectations, said the government must match action with words on the insecurity bedeviling the country.
I believe we Nigerians generally we want this government to look at the sufferings, the frustration we have in Nigeria. From the look of things, everybody is not happy, everybody is suffering from one thing or the other. We're traveling now has become a Herculean tax, feeding is becoming a problem, and so many other things.
One of the greatest concerns is that Zamfara is an agrarian state, which should be a major food contributor to the country. But banditry has prevented many farmers from accessing their farmlands.
Nigerians are expecting government to continue introducing policies for them that will address the issue of shortage and higher cost of foodstuffs within the country. The security issue has crippled the farming activities. Most of the areas where people can go and cultivate and make a reasonable quantity of foodstuffs are blocked or are prevented due to insecurity issues.
They also call on the government to come up with relevant policies that will alleviate the economic hardship being faced by Nigerians as a result of fuel subsidy removal.
Either government return this for subsidy, if at all there is subsidy, or government should provide option B, which has to do with palliative. But from what we have seen in the past government in terms of sharing palliative, there's no even 60% assurance. But for me, I would rather go for the returning of the first subsidy so that at least it will ease some of the suffering.
banditry is one of the worst security threats in Nigeria's northern region, as it comes with killing, displacement of families, kidnapping, and other atrocities. A trend residents want the government to take more decisive action on in 2024.
And while federal civil servants in the nation's capital are asking the government to implement policies that will improve the welfare of workers, they also want the federal government to tackle issues of security headlong to guarantee the safety of lives and property. The workers made their position known on the first working day of the year in their various ministries at the Federal Secretariat, Abuja.
The day gradually breaks as civil servants trickle into the Federal Secretariat on the first day at work in the year. The streets are empty, with a few cars parked in front of the Federal Secretariat. Some of the early comers share their thoughts on their expectations for the new year.
The president mentioned inflation, which it is for him to know that the real income of civil servants has really plummeted. It is nothing to write home about. This is one area the president should really take note, because if civil servants are not as motivated as they are, I don't think he can get the best out of them. And I don't see how he can push through his very, very serious reform policies that he intends to pursue for Nigeria.
When I had that very speech that is going to increase the minimum wage, I was so excited, and perhaps it will give hope to all the civil servants and to put more input to see a positive result.
When we look behind, we discover that a lot of people has promised this is what we are going to do for this new year, and they never did. So, for me, my expectation for the year is coming from God.
The workers also set an agenda for the federal government.
Expectation there again is trying to see how we can raise the employment rate. If you find out that unemployment now is so low, and based on so many obstacles that are there, so many companies folding up for one reason or the other.
As we are, nobody knows what is going to happen. Insecurity is the problem. I cannot travel now to Akwa Ibom State, where I come from, because the road is choked up. Not with vehicles, not with anything. Palliatives should come.
The economic that was down, we still expect the government to do something so that the poor people should have what to do, and let our naira be revalued so that the economy can pick up again.
Attempts to access some offices were denied by security agents on duty. Nevertheless, the workers are hoping that the federal government will match their promises with action.
Well, still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria and other West African countries to experience drop in grain production this year, according to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. Now, that's on Business News. Well, join us again.
Come only in the bedroom. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Mom is here. Mom is here. I see you know the way. Will be fruitful. Amen. And I pray that your home will be blessed. Amen.
And we lived happily ever after.
It's a great day for me. Onga makes your cooking fun. It's the aroma it brings. The taste and aroma gives a feeling of happiness. Happiness, we go feel
chicken cube for great chicken taste and aroma.
Have you heard that you can now print glossy, high-quality, 7 pages, A2 size wall calendars for just 120,000 naira only, and A3 size for just 60,000 naira only, and it will be produced and delivered to anywhere of your choice in Nigeria within 96 hours, without even having to leave your room. Listen, this is how it works. Just open WhatsApp, send your pictures and other content, and you will receive your custom design online for your approval within 24 hours. What are you waiting for? Call our hotline for more details on 0913-156-5016, 0812-794-9323, or 0815-508-8279, or visit our social media pages. Cast Prints, digital printing at super speed.
Introducing an all-time mega offer. Get over 50% discount in the Airtel Home Broadband mega offer. Buy a MiFi for just 7,500 naira and get up to 150 gigabyte bonus data, or the 10,000 naira router and get up to 240 gigabyte. You can also get the 20,000 naira router and get up to 340 gigabyte. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband bar. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Welcome back. Here in Lagos, some babies born on New Year's Day in 4 general hospitals in the state have been presented with gifts by the Lagos state government. The gesture was carried out by the wife of the state governor, Dr. Sanwo-Olu, who says the annual tradition is to emphasize the significance of the newborn as a precious blessing. She also urged parents to register under the state health insurance scheme and reduce out-of-pocket expenses.
Badagry General Hospital is the first health facility visited to capture the New Year babies. The first baby of 2024 from this dedicated maternal and child center in Badagry comes from Mr. and Mrs. Echo Harry, who have waited on the Lord for 5 years before having their bundle of joy at 12:04 a.m., weighing 3.6 kg. It's a boy, and the couple is grateful to God for the unexpected New Year gift.
Though I was expecting the baby this January, but I didn't know it's going to be a New Year gift. So I'm very excited. I'm very grateful to God.
This baby is a miracle. We've waited for 5 years. I think God has given us something to wipe away our tears. For 5 years, it says, I will give you double for your shame.
The second baby is a girl who arrived at 1:14 a.m. and the mother can barely hide her feelings.
She's my first baby, my first darling, the one who made me a mother.
The Lagos State government has made it a tradition to support couples with the first babies of the year. Wife of the Lagos State Governor, Dr. Sanwo-Olu, and wife of the Deputy Governor, Oluremi Hamzat, are here to hand over the gift items to the lucky families. Speaking to the gathering outside the ward, the state government says continuous attention will be given to the health sector, but appealed to residents to register under the state health insurance scheme.
The Ministry of Health is committed to the reduction of maternal, neonatal and child morbidity and mortality rate. Till date, the government has provided about 11 maternal and child centers with modern equipment and highly skilled, motivated healthcare workers to provide quality service to its citizenry.
As a government, we are committed to creating an environment where every child will strive perfectly like their counterparts in developed countries, where quality healthcare services will be accessible and equitable using appropriate modern technology through highly motivated healthcare workers. Support for maternal and child healthcare will be one of our highest priorities.
Even as they celebrate New Year babies, Dr. Sanwo-Olu also uses the opportunity to speak on sexual and gender-based violence.
Let's spread the word out there to the people in the community to enroll in the Lagos State Health Insurance Scheme. Also, we use this opportunity to please be watchers for sexual and gender-based violence out there. We have gone to the schools. We have preached about sexual and gender-based violence. It is not allowed. It is zero tolerance in Lagos State.
At Amuwo Maternal and Child Center, twin boys were also delivered at 12:07 a.m. and 12:09 a.m.
It wasn't my first kind of delivery. It's the second, and I'm grateful for the success. So they are boys, and the first one weighs 3 kg, while the second weighs 3.5 kg.
Babies delivered on January 1st, 2021, 2022, and 2023 were present at the event to ensure they are all well taken care of. General Hospital in Ajerobi delivered a baby boy at 12:01 a.m. to the Balogun family, while General Hospital Apapa also recorded another baby boy at 12:38 a.m. The Lagos State government has assured parents of the New Year babies that they will keep in touch with the children to track their well-being.
Governor Yahaya of Gombe State says his administration has mapped out plans to reach out to more poor and vulnerable persons in the 11 local government areas in the state. The governor says his administration has introduced policies like wage grants to civil servants, food and agricultural support, and other measures meant to cushion the impact of the fuel subsidy on citizens in the state. He stated this at the flag-off of the second phase of the food palliative distribution in the state capital.
Governor Yahaya of Gombe State has flagged off another distribution of palliatives to 90,000 poor and vulnerable persons in Gombe State. This is part of the plan of the state government to reach out to more poor and vulnerable persons in the 11 local government areas in the state.
I've advised that this palliative we're giving out should get to the needy, the really vulnerable people that are downtrodden and are needing this help. And we did it in a way that it will reach all the 2,998 polling units. And in each unit, at least 30 people are going to benefit from this palliative. We've done that previously, that covered 420,000 people. And today, what we are doing is going to cover approximately 90,000 people.
The items distributed include bags of rice and cartons of spaghetti, among others. The idea of the distribution is to support the poorest of the poor, regardless of party or religious affiliation, who are affected by the removal of fuel subsidy.
I am thankful to the governor of Gombe, Damaji Gombe, for always bettering the life of the masses. May God continue to protect him. This is his character. May God uplift him. May God uplift him and protect him.
We are appreciating to the governor Muhammadu Yahaya. Alhamdulillah, this thing that he is doing, we appreciate it. And Alhamdulillah, we are benefiting about it. We are not feeling anything. But Alhamdulillah, whether fuel removal, whether subsidy there, no problem.
In August 2023, the first phase of the food palliative intervention was rolled out, targeting 420,000 poor and vulnerable people in the state.
Business News is up next with Melinda Akilami.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial star 894 hash now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Many thanks, Ayotunde. Welcome to Business News. Nigeria and some other West African countries are expected to experience a significant drop in the production of grains such as maize, sorghum, and millet. According to a West African Regional Supply and Market Outlook report by the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, this decline is anticipated due to climate challenges, insecurity, and rising production costs. However, the UN's body report projects an increase in rice production as well as an optimistic prospect for most roots like tubers and cash crop within the region this year. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has projected a tough start for the sector, but expects improvement towards the third quarter of this year. The Director General of MAN, Mr. Segun Ajayi Kadri, who made this known, explained that although the new year is expected to be challenging, it still has a potential for a subtle recovery. He also mentioned that the prospect will rely heavily on implementing policies and domestic growth through export-focused and offensive trade. The Nigerian Economic Summit Group has appointed Dr. Tayo Aduloju as its new Chief Executive Officer with effect from January the 1st. Mr. Aduloju, who currently serves as the Chief Operating Officer and Senior Fellow for Economic Policy, Strategy and Competitiveness, will succeed the current CEO, Mr. Laoye Jayola, following the completion of his two-term tenure. With this appointment, he becomes the 6th Chief Executive Officer of the Economic Think Tank Group. Before this role, Mr. Aduloju had worked as a policy advisor under several administrations. To some company news now. Listed multinational telecoms giant Airtel Africa has appointed Mr. Sunil Talda to replace its retiring Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Olusegun Ogunsoya. In a statement sent to the Nigerian Exchange, the company said Mr. Talda will resume his role as the CEO on July the 1st, at a time when Mr. Ogunsoya is expected to retire. Before his appointment, Mr. Talda, who joined Airtel Africa in October 2023 as Director of Transformation, was the Director of Market Operations at Bharti Airtel, the controlling entity in Airtel Africa. Now let's head to the domestic stock market, which begins the year with a new all-time high, continuing from the bullish trend which dominated 2023. Willie Bong tells us more.
Welcome to the Stock Market Report. It's the first trading day for 2024, and I can tell you for free that 2024 is off to a very good start. And we see the NGX index kicking off with a bang. It hit 76,000 level before the close of the bell, but finally settled at 75,000 following last-minute sell-off on the NGX. But the market cap has crossed the 41 trillion naira mark. It's like investors have thrown caution to the wind, despite the warnings that 2024 might just be the year to exercise caution. And which stocks moved the market? We won't keep you in the dark. Here we go. The movers and shakers, stocks worth over 1 trillion naira, and Airtel Africa top on that list with 130 naira added to its share price and closed at 2,000 naira. And we also see some price action on Boa Cement, which rose to 102 naira in today's session. The banking counter, however, not done in the winning heart in the first trading day of 2024. I think investors are taking profits or maybe repositioning for last quarter earnings report. PZ and Eterna stepping in there and propping the consumer goods and oil and gas indexes. Wow, the bulls definitely got this in the bag after a much-deserved New Year holiday break. And I'm super excited to see how tomorrow plays out. Will Ibang, signing out.
Meanwhile, it's a mixed close for some of the world's major stock markets.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial 894 hash now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Melinda. Hamas has confirmed that the deputy head of its political bureau, Saleh al-Aruri, has been killed in a blast in the Dahieh neighborhood of the Lebanese capital, Beirut, today. Al-Aruri was also known to be deeply involved in Hamas military affairs. He was among 4 people killed in the explosion. Here's Simon Pusey with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. 5 people aboard a Japanese Coast Guard plane have died after their aircraft collided with a passenger plane at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. Here, eyewitness footage showing the scenes of chaos inside the smoke-filled plane and people running across the tarmac after escaping on an evacuation slide. And this the moment of impact between the 2 planes, both bursting into flames after the collision. 1 Coast Guard crew member managed to escape but suffered severe injuries. Flights at Tokyo Haneda have been grounded and many were diverted to other airports in Japan while emergency services tackled the fire. Meanwhile, the number of people killed in the powerful earthquake in Japan, which caused homes to collapse and triggered tsunami warnings, is now known to be at least 50. Around 1,000 rescuers are searching for people who they think may be trapped beneath the rubble. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida says the quake has caused numerous casualties and they face a race against time to rescue survivors. The Japanese military has been handing out supplies including food, water and blankets for those who have had to leave home. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary, Yoshimasa Hayashi, said that there are 120 cases of people waiting to be rescued. The 7.6 magnitude earthquake struck the central region of Japan a little after 4 p.m. local time on Monday. South Korea's opposition leader Lee Jae-myung has been stabbed in the neck during a visit to the city of Busan. Mr. Lee, who narrowly lost the 2022 presidential election, sustained a 1 centimeter laceration on the left side of his neck. He was airlifted to hospital where doctors say the wound is not life-threatening. The 66-year-old man who attacked him said he had intended to kill Mr. Lee. The motive for the attack is unclear. Russian missiles have hit Ukraine's biggest cities, leaving at least 5 dead and dozens injured after Vladimir Putin vowed to intensify attacks. A woman was killed and 44 others were hurt in the northeastern city of Kharkiv, according to local officials. Kyiv's mayor Vitaly Klitschko said 2 people died and 49 were wounded in a strike on blocks of flats in the Solomiansky district of the capital. 2 more deaths were reported in the broader Kyiv region. There have been major aerial assaults by both sides in recent days. The Spanish soccer star Jenny Hermoso has testified in a Madrid High Court over the kiss from the Football Federation chief Luis Rubiales she claims was without her consent. Hermoso spent around 2 to 2.5 hours speaking behind closed doors to investigating judge. She told reporters outside court, "All is in the hands of justice. That's all I can say. The process will take its course." The 33-year-old forward, Spain's all-time top scorer, lodged a criminal complaint of sexual assault and coercion in September over the kiss on the winner's podium on August the 20th, saying she had not wanted to be kissed and she felt vulnerable and a victim of aggression. And the world tennis number 1, Novak Djokovic, has shocked his fellow players with his Chinese-speaking ability at a press conference in Perth.
How about speaking Chinese to make them happy, like Happy New Year? 新年快乐. 新年快乐.
新年快乐，你好吗？谢谢你们的支持，为你中国，我的好榜样。榜样。
Fellow player Olga Danilovic and Serbia team captain Viktor Trojki were left in hysterics by his unexpected reply, seemingly unaware of his linguistic talents. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Absolutely fantastic to see Novak Djokovic there trying his hands on Chinese. But let's talk sports some more. The journey to clinching a 4th AFCON title has begun for the Super Eagles of Nigeria as the 3-time African champions officially kick-started their training camp in Abu Dhabi and preparations for the 34th edition of the tournament. They haven't missed out of the last edition in Cameroon in 2021. Expectations are high as the team hopes to reclaim the title, the last one in 2013.
The Super Eagles of Nigeria begin preparations for this year's Africa Cup of Nations in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. The invited players are expected to start arriving the camp in the Gulf country for an intensive training for 1 week. Super Eagles head coach Ose Pesero gives reasons for the choice of players selected for the competition.
I think it's enough, 25 players. But since the first moment, NFF decided to bring 25 players. Some players show until now good performance in the clubs, but didn't show good performance in our national team. It can happen the same in the opposite. Some players play very well in the national team, he didn't play very well in the club.
Football experts call for support for the team as campaign for a 4th title beckons.
Football is a science now, and we need to begin to understand that every scientific fact would affect performance, and so we need to go to the how do you call it, the drawing board. I think Nigeria may surprise a lot of people. I don't know why. I just believe that, you know, this time we'll put up a good performance.
With what we have, with the great talents we have, if collectively these boys can team up and be united to play as a unit, I see no reason why Nigeria will not win the Nations Cup.
First of all, let's do it again, is what the NFF says. So let's do it again. But you know, really, people underestimate the support, what support can do. Our team is, I think, good. I'm not sure whether it's the best at the moment. There's 1 or 2 things I think needs to be tweaked, but they're good enough to win.
The 3-time African champions will square up against Burkina Faso and DR Congo in a mini tournament while in Abu Dhabi for the camping exercise.
In tennis, Rafael Nadal has marked his singles comeback after being out injured for nearly a year with a convincing 7-5, 6-1 victory over Austrian Dominic Thiem in the Brisbane International first round earlier today. The 37-year-old looked razor-sharp as he claimed the opening set with a break. Nadal racked up a 5-1 lead before closing out the match on serve. And Birmingham City have sacked Wayne Rooney after a 3-0 defeat at Leeds United on New Year's Day. Now, Rooney was appointed at St Andrew on October 11 last year on a 3.5-year deal with the club's 6th in the championship, following back-to-back wins under former manager John Ustaz. But Rooney has seen his team lose 9 of the 15 matches they have played since he took over, leaving the club in 20th position in the championship table. That's Sports News Tonight. I am Kelly Egiga. It's back to Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. North Central governors today paid a condolence visit to Plateau State, where they described the Christmas Eve attacks on Plateau communities as sheer act of criminality, which must be treated as such, just as they donated the sum of 100 million naira to the victims. The federal government has suspended the ongoing evaluation and accreditation of degree certificates from the republics of Benin and Togo, pending the outcome of an investigation into these certificates from both countries. And 5 people aboard a Japanese Coast Guard plane have been killed after their aircraft collided with a passenger plane at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. Meanwhile, all 379 passengers and crew escaped the Japan Airlines passenger plane before it went up in flames.
What a year 2023 was. Nigeria's political landscape was agog with events all year. Not unexpected, 2023 was Nigeria's election year. We got a new president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we said goodbye to former President Muhammadu Buhari